All right, welcome to the Max Effort Kitchen podcast. We're in a little bit of a different area here, but Cornell's in the same spot, which always looks comfortable. How you doing, Cornell?
I'm good. Just got out of the movies and made some quick steak, and now I'm here.
Heck yeah. Dude, I mean, like I was saying, you have that chair, and I'm always envious of that chair because I have this weird like metal chair in my normal spot, and I'm like, I have this kind of like comfy, cozy like thing now. I'm like, I need to be doing this more often.
It reclines back, but
oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Pretty soon here. I mean, the reason why we're like this, or I'm in the different areas, because I'm going to be moving to a new house. So that's exciting. It means possible new podcast studio for one of the rooms, and yeah, fun things to come on that. So we might be a little spotty on our shows, but I know Cornell's got some stuff coming up, so I'm probably going to time my stuff around that. So we'll see.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. So Cornell, how's your weekend been?
So far so good. We're having Thanksgiving here, so my wife had the freakouts yesterday, so that meant she relaxed and zoned out in the car in the passenger seat for a 4-hour nap.
Nice.
And I proceeded to clean the whole house, paint a couple of walls, paint the front door, get all the tables and chairs set up, clean the kitchen, clean the bathroom. Actually, I had the kids do some of that, but I managed it all.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we do with kids, right? We just got to manage them. Unfortunately, I don't manage my kids very often very well when it comes to cleaning. But it usually ends up in me being like, all right, well, you can either do it or I'll take away, one of your 5 screens. So
it was pretty much the bathroom and the kitchen that kids took care of.
Yeah.
But my son mows the lawn and he gets like $10 a week for that. And then
nice.
My daughter deep cleans the kitchen, so she gets $10 a week for that. But it's like take everything off the counter, clean everything, clean the stove as good as possible, clean out the microwave, like all that kind of stuff. And when I was like, hey, you got to clean the kitchen. She's like, right now? I'm so tired. I'm like, I don't care. Right now.
Yeah, right now. Yeah. It's interesting. I don't remember as a kid, I don't remember saying how tired or bored I was, but I seem to hear that a lot in my kids. I'm so tired. I'm like, what have you been doing? Anything? Like what?
Laying down watching screens.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my son is learning a whole new way of life because he has basketball practice now, and it's after school, and like, so we're in the mode of like trying to teach him that like, hey, guess what? You do have to go to school the day after your practice. Like,
that's
how your body
we
feels.
had to have that conversation with my son because he went and saw. So I just went and saw Wicked, but he went and saw it on Wednesday,
and
I got the privilege of picking him up at 11:30 or 11 o'clock at night.
Oh, yes.
And then the next morning, he's like, I don't feel good. And finally, my wife's like, just because you're out late doesn't mean you wake up and you're not feeling good. You're just tired. And that's part of life. So if you're going to go out, you're going to get up.
Exactly. That's what I was telling Jack. I'm like, if you're going to play sports, you got to get used to this, man, because this is going to be a lifelong thing. So, anyways, let's see. Man, okay, so I think I polled you guys earlier, but I bared the Costco today. I know people I talk to were like, don't go to Costco the weekend before Thanksgiving. It wasn't bad. Like, I got through there pretty quick. Within an hour, I think I was home. And they're doing this thing, and I picked one up where they sell an entire turkey breast, the made mashed potatoes, and green beans, $38, dude. I'm like, this is a great price. I wish they would sell this all year round because I would probably buy this. But the turkey breast looks like it has some sort of rub on it. It says pre-brined, but I'm going to play with it. So I got that, and I picked up some burnt ends. I kind of like their burnt ends. They tend to be a little tough if you cook them too long. But like, I made this like teriyaki sesame ginger like spicy sauce, and I seared them and then cooked them in that, and then put that over rice. It was It was perfect.
Nice.
I love Costco for the convenience, you know?
Oh yeah, no, I love their like mostly cooked like
Yeah.
entrees that I don't know
Yeah.
if you guys have the chicken tacos up there, but they
Yep.
have these.
Oh, yeah.
And then they had fish tacos for a little while. And they've got like
I haven't
stir
seen those.
fry. Yeah, they don't have
Nice.
them anymore. I mean, they had them for a little while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stir fry and a couple other things that are like awesome.
Yeah, dude. I mean, they do a good job at the building the convenience. So, you know, it's going to be an interesting couple weeks. So I stocked up on like tamales and stuff like that. Stuff we can heat up real quick and just, you know, eat.
Nice.
Yeah, but did you do any fun cooking this weekend, or are you kind of saving it?
I don't think I did much of anything. My mother-in-law brought over cinnamon rolls that she did all the grinding of the wheat and all that kind of stuff, and they were
Nice.
It's always nice when she brings them over because she brings them right after she's done cooking them, and she doesn't let us know she's bringing them till she's on her way.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, 3 minutes after you get a phone call, you have warm cinnamon rolls that are fresh baked. So
yeah, that's always fun. That's always fun. Well, you know, you had a really good topic. You pulled me over the week, and it's something that I'm super interested in, and I'll probably have some questions and some thoughts. But it's kind of the idea of like, you know, when we're maybe our coach is building our program, and they're like, hey, you know, what's your best snatch? What's your best clean and jerk? And what you tell them will, you know, essentially is what they build their percentages on. I'm going to assume that that's how most coaches do it. I could be wrong, whatever. But when it comes to that number that you tell them, I have gone both ways, and not literally, but I have gone to the point more often where I tell them what I want to hit. And it's usually about 5 kilos over my my max or my best lift, and that's bitten me in the ass a couple times. I've gotten to about 80% of my you know, maybe my snatch, and I start missing a bunch, and then I start questioning it. What's your thought on that? Like, what should you set those percentages off of?
So I think here's what a lot of this is. I don't know. This is what I think that a lot of people do when they do that is, let's say you're just on a team and there's a blanket program that goes out, and it's not individualized at all to you. And people are like, well, I want to hit these numbers, so I'm going to go off of higher numbers.
Right.
I ran into this with one of the lifters at our gym, and she just hit like some pretty big PRs. And then she's like, all right, well, I'm going to go off these numbers now. I'm like, I really don't think you should. I forgot what she hit. She snatched over reds. And then I don't remember what she clean jerked. I think she cleaned like 85.
Okay.
So first time with like reds and greens, and
yeah,
I mean, big lifts.
Right.
But then she upped what she's going to do her percentages off of now. And then she's leading into AO finals, and all of a sudden the program is 96% for 4 singles. And that 96% is basically her brand new PR.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of told her, I'm like, hey, you miss, you go down. She's like, and she's just like, well, I like to go off of a higher number. I'm like, yeah, but you hit that higher number the other day, so you haven't earned a higher number now.
Yeah.
So I think something else that I remember listening to a long time ago is people were talking about like, why go off of a higher 1 rep when you can just bump up your percentages? And
Correct.
I think that some people then stress out about like, instead of me hitting 85%, I'm actually hitting 91%. And then they get freaked out when they see the 91%, but it's like a mental game when they have the lower numbers.
Okay.
So my outlook on it is I've always been told, and I've always believed that the most skill knowledge that you will be learning in your lifting is that like 75 to 85%. Above that, fight or flight. Below that, you don't have to think about it. If I think about 70% for me, I could load it right now and hit it. like
Yeah.
without warming up, without anything. I'm not saying it would be pretty, but I could make it.
Yeah, totally.
When I'm over 80%, about 83%, that's where I have to really start like focusing.
Yeah.
And so that's where I think what I ended up telling her is I'm fine if you want to be working off of higher numbers, but that's only up to 80%. Like once you're hitting that 85%, you're like your true 85%, you should be going off of your true number, because we want to be making as many lifts as possible. We don't want to be missing higher numbers just because we think we should. Like you haven't earned those lifts yet.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree with you on that. Now here's kind of another gray area on those numbers. Would you suggest setting those numbers based off of a comp PR or a training PR? Because those, I don't know about you, but in my world, those are incredibly different. They're off by 4 or 5 kilos, but they're still, that's 4 or 5 kilos, right? Like, so
Okay.
what would you do in that situation? Because I've always gone off of my training, my best training lifts.
I always recommend going off your highest lifts. I don't care about competition numbers. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, it's great because that's like technically official, but
Right.
I don't lift for competitions. I lift because I enjoy lifting. So
Correct.
why would I want to go off of something that's not as good? And I mean, you're only allowed 3 lifts in competition.
Correct.
And you're allowed to have the extra lifts. So it's not like it's not like we only have 3 lifts when we're in training.
Yeah.
So why should we be going off of those numbers?
Yeah, it's a good point. And that's kind of why I brought that up, is because I would venture to say that 90% of lifters are lifting more during training than they are at a comp. Who knows? I mean, you do hear about a lot of like PRs at competitions or whatever, but the only thing I've ever PR'd in my competition is my clean and jerk.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's that, and I think it was 142. That was down at the Oceanside meet, and I still go off that number. I set my numbers for 112 to 142, and that's a pretty big gap of the two. I know that, but I've been putting a heavier focus on my snatch lately, and it's one of those things that, like, once I hit 90 kilos, which is technically about 80% ish, it starts getting hard. And I always go back, in my brain always is like, hey, you know what? Maybe you should go off of a lower number. And I never have. But I'm like, no. If I go off a lower number, I'll want to go heavier. It's stupid. So, I like that. I like that you said that. You're right, because everything is different in a competition, and really, let's just go off of what we've hit. It doesn't matter competition or not.
Yeah, I think another thing that people kind of go crazy over is if they take 6 months off, or if something happens, they get a big injury, then they're like, what numbers do I come off of? And what I would tell somebody if they were just getting back into it is, I would say, don't worry about percentages for the first 2 weeks. Just be consistent. Just be moving. Just get everything in so that you're like remembering the body, like mechanics of it, and you're doing the lifts how you should, and you're not worrying about how heavy is on the bar. Yep. Then after 2 weeks, I'd say go hit a real heavy day. I'm not going to say there's some people go back and forth over like a max out day versus a heavy day. Heavy day would generally be, I would consider 3 misses. Max out is you've got red in your eyes and you're going to kill. Yeah. I wouldn't say chase those numbers down, because you're going to get hurt if you've been off for 6 months and you're coming back and you're 2 weeks back. Like, go take 3 misses, move on, and then go off of those numbers, and then base your next like 4 to 6 weeks off of that. Hit all the percentages based on those numbers. You're going to want to go up, but just kind of hold back a little bit. And then in the 4 to 6 weeks, go do it again. Then you can reset your stuff. And depending on how old you are, you might never hit those real 1 rep PRs. But if you're I mean, if you're back into lifting for 6-7 months straight without any injuries or any time off after that, then you could feel free to go back to your 1 rep numbers. You're probably going to be pretty stinking close within 5% of those anyway. So
Yeah, I agree. It's so I'll give you an example of something that I've known. I haven't necessarily fully believed it, but the more it happens, the more I believe it. I got injured back in August, late August, and at that point, I went off my regularly scheduled program, and I just started lifting. No focus. Just started lifting. Just did what I wanted to do on the platform that day. Maybe it's blocks, maybe it's hangs, maybe it's a pull plus, maybe it's a full plus hang. I've been lifting long enough to I know the different variations, and I'm staying pretty consistent on the variations and basing my numbers off of I know what my top set's going to be. And if it feels good, I'll put another 2 kilos, 3 kilos on the bar and go for more. Well, I've been doing this for about 2.5 months ish. And I think I attempted 105 on Friday. It wasn't like a big max out day. It was a cold day. I was walking out in the garage. I warmed up extra long. I was super stiff. But I took some time. And I worked up to 100 kilos, 0 misses, went for 105, missed it 3 times, and called it, and then did some squats. But the point of me telling you this is that I haven't had a program for about 2.5 months, but yet I haven't hit 105 or even taken a crack at 105 since Masters Nationals. And it was it honestly, if I would have taken 2 more attempts, I would have made it. And I knew what I was doing wrong, and I could feel myself dropping my chest. And I wasn't really okay, this is just a fun day. I'm just working up to a heavy lift. And I guess my point in saying all this is there might be some value in just having a good time on that platform. Obviously we all got to put in the very specific time to get to be able to do that point. But I'm doing this thing where I'm just I guess kind of writing my own program by the day, and it seems to be making me happier. I'm still getting my lifts in, and I'm not losing much. And if anything, I think I'm gaining more. It's interesting.
No, I think that's great. I think I don't want to piss off a lot of coaches, but I'm just going to say it anyway.
That's what we're doing here. It's cool.
I'm different than a lot of people.
Yep.
I won't follow a program until it's time to get ready for competition.
Right.
I'm not going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to enjoy having the 8 weeks of hypertrophy and the building state. I'm I'm done building.
Yeah.
This is all I've got. So I'm going to do exactly what I want whenever I want. And then leading into competition, then I will get a program, generally for my coach.
Mm-hmm.
And she knows that I'm going to modify it to what works for me. And then that's our give and take. And that's how it's going to work.
Right.
And even though she wishes I wouldn't, but I know that she doesn't know how I feel. So, but I think doing what you're doing right now, I think is great. And so many people can't necessarily do that because they just want to push. And when they don't have a good day, they just want to, the program says I'm supposed to hit 83%. So I'm going to do 15 attempts and I got it and cool. That I made what the program wanted, instead of saying, hey, I don't know if it's there today. I'm going to drop down. I'm going to do 65, 70%. Cause that's all I think I realistically have. I'm just going to move and not ingrain missing patterns of lifting.
Yeah. That's something that when it's not there, it's interesting because I have in my head, I have these built-in cursors. When I know it's not there, I just keep 70 on the bar. On the bar, I hit it 25 times, and then I call it because I know I can. I take about a minute or so, 90 seconds rest in between, But when I do know it's there, or when I'm like, okay, this is something's flowing, I'm going to go for it and I'm going to have fun. And I do think it's worth saying that if you're a new lifter, maybe not listen to us. I don't know. I think there is some value in being a new lifter and following the program. I think that there's also a point in which you can have the confidence to just say, I'm not going to follow anything. I'm good. And I can figure this out on my own. There is that point. And if you are a new lifter, you will get to that point if you just keep consistent. Because I think that's really the biggest thing, is being consistent. Like, how many snatches can you get in a year? You know, it's like you start adding that number up, and you start realizing that the repetition is going to make you better. Not this ultra perfect program that a coach is going to give you. It's the repetition.
Yeah, and I think it's a big thing that I've said multiple times, that if you're going to modify your program, then what that is saying is you are taking responsibility for what you're doing.
I love that.
So if you are saying, oh, I'm going to do, it says 83% and it took 15 attempts to make it and I didn't make it. Oh, it's not my fault. It was on the program. But if you're like, hey, I'm not going to be able to make that today, I'm going to do a lighter number and it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And so what you're doing is you're taking responsibility of not ingraining bad movement pattern.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, if you are feeling on fire, and I'm not talking about, I think we've talked about this. People think that being on fire is like a birthday cake candle, like a birthday candle. They're like, oh, the fire's hot, and they have this little candle lit, and they stick their finger on it, and they're like, it's so hot right now. It's like, that's not what we're talking about. If it's actually like a roaring fire in the fireplace that can heat your whole family up, like,
yeah, there you go.
And you've got programmed 75%, then you go for it. And then if it's not there, you'll know real quick. But you just need to take responsibility for what you're doing lifting wise.
Yeah, I agree. You know,
especially if your coach isn't sitting there watching the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know a coach out there that is sitting there watching the whole time. I guess unless you're getting.
I know two.
You know two. Okay, cool.
I know two.
Are they the two that you work with, or no? Never mind. We'll go there. Okay. Yeah. I will say that I think the first time I met Stephanie in person, and she was my coach at the time. She came up to me and she goes, "So you're gonna be do a Cornell today, huh?" And I looked at her. I was like, "What's a Cornell?" She's like, "You're just going off program," and I'm like, "Hey, it feels good." And she did not like that, but I'm sure she was just giving me shit. But anyways,
if you ask her today,
yeah,
she will have a different answer.
Yeah, I figured that would be the case. I'm like, that's a good point. She's got more time under tension, so yeah.
Seen why I do what I do.
Yeah, agree. And I would say that you know, you've had a big influence on my lifting, and I watch what you do, and it's helped out a lot. But still, when like back to like the idea of when the iron's hot. Now, I think that there's a lot of outside forces that can make us think that iron or that fire, that birthday candle is blazing, but maybe it's not. And I think that you got to be very specific and understand when, you know, this analogy of this, you know, roaring fire, when it's actually there. And having good body awareness and having good understanding of like how you're moving, where the bar is, you know, how you're pulling under it, how all your different positions. Like, I can tell based off of where that bar's hitting on me and my timing. I know every time. And I'm like, okay, here it is. Here we go. And I also know really quick when I get buried under 50 kilos. So, you know, like, oh, it's going to be a long day today. Sometimes you can get out of it. I think sometimes you stay at 50 for, you know, 5, 6, 7 reps. And then maybe you got warmed up, or maybe you just need another sip of some caffeine. Or maybe, but the main point I'm trying to say here is that, like, the iron or the birthday candle is not hot every session, nor should it probably be hot every week. Maybe, but I would say I'd venture to say, like, personally, as an old guy and as somebody who's lifted for as many, at the years that I have, I probably will push a heavy once a month and just see where I'm at. I think it's good.
I think the birthday candle is wrong analogy. I think it should be the pilot light. It's
the pilot light.
The pilot light's on.
I like that. I like
it's
that.
It's not this roaring fire.
Yeah.
But back to what we were saying about like changing the percentages, being willing to go heavier when you're feeling really good and going down when you're not. This is all advice for people that I would give, whether you're a new lifter or not, within reason. But if you have one of those coaches who is sitting there watching you, they're going to tell you that. They're going to tell you, hey, it's not there today. You're going to go down. And then they're going to see when it's on fire, and they're going to say, hey, I know the program said this, but you're going to do this.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that, since most people don't have a coach who's just sitting there watching, they have to take that responsibility.
Yeah.
And if it all goes to hell, then you need to re-examine, like, were you actually feeling hot? Like, did it take 18 attempts to make 85%? Because that fire was not hot.
Yeah. And only you really know that. I mean, your coach can be sitting there watching you, and we all know the effect of when you see something on video. You're like, man, that moved quick, but that felt like hell. Yeah. So it's like, I like what you're saying about the taking responsibility. That is a huge part of lifting that I don't think people talk about enough, which is understanding what you can handle, when you can handle it, and how to do it. And stop blaming your programming, stop blaming your coach, stop blaming. I mean, there are specific instances that you can do that, but for most cases, like, you're lifting the bar. So you're the one that's actually making the mistake. And, taking responsibility for that is part of being a consistent good lifter. I would say if I'm looking at somebody and I'm like, they're a good lifter, I'm probably looking at them like that because of the way they move, because of how they approach training, and because of how they compete. And really, the competing one's kind of like maybe not, but I look at how they approach the platform, how they work through training sessions. Like, I don't give a shit how much weight you lift. I want to see how you approach the sport and do that. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. But I kind of feel like people don't want to take responsibility for anything in life these days.
Yeah,
there's always a reason why they have some sort of trauma in their life because their mom said no to a popsicle at 3 a.m. when they woke up or whatever. And they just know that if they do stick to it, then they don't have to take that responsibility. But at the same time, did your coach know you were out partying last night up till 3 a.m?
Yep.
Does your coach know that you were playing video games till 5 a.m, or like all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Stressing out about life, about like not eating, about not sleep, there's so many other things that your coach doesn't know. And if you're not explaining all of that to them, and coaches don't really care, every single day,
correct.
Then you're choosing not to let them know that kind of what's going on and why you're going to be moving like crap. And if anyone came to me and they were like, hey, I broke up with my girlfriend and we're up till 5 a.m. last night talking, and then I started drinking at 6 a.m. and then I slept till 2. But it's cool because I'm here for team training at 4:30. I'd be like, yeah,
go home.
I got this competition in 6 months and I got to get ready for it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll use the analogy of kind of what I was talking about earlier with my son, because he's starting a new sport, and it's a much faster paced sport, which is basketball. He's never played organized basketball, and he's learning quickly that, like, he's like, Dad, why do I feel like crap? And I'm like, dude, how did you eat before you went there? How did you sleep? Are you paying attention to, what's going on during the day? Are you eating lunch? What are you doing leading up to it? and he's 10 years old. So I'm like, being able to get that through a 10-year-old is pretty difficult, I'm finding, but it's something that I keep on preaching. It's like you're only as good as how you take care of your body as an athlete or as a lifter or as any type of person who plays a sport. If you can't take care of the stuff on the outside, why, maybe you should start there before you start playing a sport.
Yeah. I don't know if you listened to that podcast I sent to you and Damon, but
I haven't got a chance to, but I'm going to.
One of the things that Jordan Genta says repeatedly is doing the uncomfortable thing when it's uncomfortable or something like that.
Yep.
And it's like that makes or breaks what kind of a lifter you're going to be. Actually, that breaks what kind of person you're going to be.
Yeah. Well, and I think that at least I can only speak for myself. Sports has had a very big influence on the kind of person I've been. And it's because of those type of things of being, being uncomfortable in certain situations, showing up when I didn't want to, even down to my life now where it's like walking out to that garage when I am not feeling it, or I had a hellish day at work, or maybe I just got in an argument with Alana or something, and I'm like, I gotta get out there, and just walking out there and doing something, because doing something is better than doing nothing. I don't care if you just go out there and do 100 push-ups, like go out there, do 100 push-ups, maybe do some empty bar, curls or something, get the blood moving, do something. Right. And like, that's just better. That's always going to be better than nothing. And it's only ingrained in my head is because, growing up, my coaches were telling me, like, you show up. But if you're going to show up, I want you to show up in your prime, in your good and the best way you can, I guess is the way I'm trying to say. And, as a kid, that's what I looked up to as my coaches. Like, those were my mentors. Those are the people I wanted to impress. I didn't give a shit about anything else. I wanted to impress my coach. And it's just, learning to do that at a young age, I think is good. But boy, is it hard to teach that at an adult level, right? When you have all these freedoms.
I feel like you're always supposed to give your 100%.
Yeah.
But there's certain days where 70% is my 100%.
Yep.
But there's also days where I know that I'm doing things outside of lifting that are part of life, or they could be just selfish things that I don't need to do for life, but I'm kind of choosing to do these things, and I'm not going to be able to show up with 100%.
Right.
So, like, I know when there's days where I'm only able to hit like 70 to 80 kilos, where I'm just like, that's all I really got today. Like, that's my 100%. I'm not going to push and then start missing and then do something to just jack up my body so that I'm injured or just prolonging this, like, not feeling good. Me holding back is me giving my 100%. And that's because I'm focusing on today's not the day that really matters. The next time, if I can not push it now and recover more now, then next time when I'm here, I can give better.
Yeah.
But if I'm going, right now we're getting close to like the holiday parties that are going to be all like just back to back to back for a lot of people. Like, if you're going out to a Christmas party and then you're getting wasted and up till 3 a.m. and then expect to show up and hit 90% at the gym the next day, like, you're leaving 50%. You're at 50% capability before you even get to the gym.
Yep.
Like, those are the things where it's like, you got to choose, what do you want more? Do you want to just go out and have some instant gratification fun now, or do you want to have some more better building blocks to get you towards your goal?
Correct. And that's where the word priorities come in, because, if you're a lifter that wants to excel in the sport, you got to take care of your life, and you got to be able to show up, with all, as much as 100% as you can, because I'm sorry, but out of all the sports I've played, this is the hardest one. When you're not 100%, good luck, buddy. It just doesn't happen. And it's I guess the word I'm looking for is unforgiving. It's a very unforgiving sport. And man, I mean, you got a holiday party? Cool. Why don't you plan your recovery day for the day after your holiday party? Get a workout in before the party and then move forward, like it's just about priorities. And I'm just, I think there's a lot of things that we can blame our bad lifting on, but at the end of the day, you just got to look in the mirror, that's where it starts.
No, last year, the Christmas party that my company did, they went out to dinner. I think everyone got drinks. I didn't drink. Everyone got this super fancy dinner, lots of drinks. I didn't drink. We went and saw Pauly Shore at a nightclub, 2-drink minimum. I ordered 2 drinks, didn't drink them. Like I had to order. I had to order 2 drinks, didn't drink them. Then after that, we went to this other dessert place, and everyone was getting more drinks, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna sit here. I'll get an ice cream.
Yeah, there you go.
And then I purposely didn't come in at 8 a.m. like I would normally would, because we didn't get done with the party till about 11:30. So I slept in till like 8:30, and I came in at like 11. I was at 100%. I was like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
My wife was not fine. I talked to all the guys from work. They were not fine for the whole weekend. I was great.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and what you're doing there is you are saying that you have priorities and that you're taking care of you first, because that just as well as I know that alcohol does not do your lifting any good. Like, I'm sorry, you drink alcohol and you try to lift the next day, have fun, because it ain't gonna be fun, dude.
Yeah.
I guess that's personally speaking, but yeah.
Well,
good.
No, but I'm just gonna say you haven't listened to the podcast yet, but you listen to that, and that podcast has changed my life for if I ever coach anyone again.
Yeah.
There are rules that happen in that podcast that I'm like, that those are my standards if I'm going to coach people. Like,
heck yeah.
I mean, like one-on-one, like someone that I'm actually coaching, not just at the gym and just like doing the, oh yeah, move your feet more, do this, do that, like actual like one-on-one coaching.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I like that. I think one other thing I want to add to all this conversation is being patient, because like I said just a minute ago, how unforgiving the sport is. Like, be patient in the sport. Really be patient in anything you do, because if you try to get this instant gratification thing that we are all just so fixated on, it ain't gonna work. Something I've talked to Damon, which is a good example. He's teaching him. He's starting to learn how to not competitively swim, but swim efficiently, so he can go do a triathlon. And he's struggling, but every day he's doing it. And I'm like, hey, dude, be patient. Just keep getting in the water, dude. Just keep getting in the water. Like, that's all really that matters. And, keep increasing what you do. And, I think that patience can play a huge part in this sport, because it don't happen very often.
Your wife is typing in.
Yeah, I saw
fighting words. I was gonna start typing, but I was like, I don't want to just type.
This could mean like 5 different things. Like, so I'm gonna hold off on the comments. But thank you, Alana. Oh Lordy. But yeah, no, patience is something that is super key. And yeah, nobody's going to be a super fantastic lifter in a year, 2 years, 3 years. Give it some time. Just give it some time.
Yeah, I think it was my buddy Jared. He just got some award from, like, he's considered like a New England elite lifter. He got some award, and I think it was him who posted this, but I could be off on it. But he took the Bruce Lee quote about like, and he like modified it for weightlifting, and it was something like, I don't fear the person who's lifted a bar 1,000 times, but I fear the person who's lifted or one lift 1,000 times or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's exactly what we're actually striving for. Is we're not trying to just go out there and say I've snatched 10,000 snatches. We want to say I've done the same snatch 10,000 times, and that's what the goal is.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever be able to say that I've done the snatch the same way for a certain amount of times, but I sure do strive for it. And it's, the body is just such a weird thing, and movement and how you're feeling and how you're eating and how you're sleeping and your stress levels and all that crap, man. It's just, it affects you in every little way. Just get out there and keep going, keep trying, have goals. We talked about goals last time. Have some patience and just stop being a baby. There you go. Those are my final words for the day, I think. But yeah, get a coach, have fun with it, and whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like they say, there's no shortcut to the top. Like,
no, there really isn't.
So
there really is not. Well, this has been here, I'm going to say it again, super fantastic. Sorry. I don't even know where that came from. This has been a good show, dude. And I think if anybody out there heard this and has anything to say about it, please reach out, good or bad. I always have fun debating these type of things. But, shit. Take what we say as a grain of salt, or take it to death. But just know that we have a little bit of experience behind what we're talking about.
Yeah, calm down, Alana.
Yeah, boom. I'm usually I'm usually the one that is fighting myself against the three of these people here. So thank you, Cornell, for having my back. And I think that's all I got, dude. You got anything?
Nope.
All right, buddy. Well, have a good weekend. Thank you for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Adios.
Bye.